Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Martin, kitchen and bath designer, entrepreneur, artist, and creative soul behind the Kitchen and Bath Digest. This is a show where we weave soulful design into every space and redefine what it means to create with intention. Here we don't just create beautiful homes, we design from the heart, embracing both the practical and spiritual. By pressing play, you'll be joining a community that creates not just for function, but for a sense of sacred space and personal alignment. On this podcast, you will learn to merge the art of design with soulful living, turning every remodeling project into a journey of self-expression and holistic beauty. This isn't just about kitchens and bathrooms, it's about embracing design as a path to a richer, more beautiful life. So let's step into this sacred designer together and create spaces that resonate with your soul. Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. If you're new here, we're going to talk about the intersection of home and soul and how the spaces we create live that are never just aesthetic or functional, but they're about energy, intention, and transformation. I sit down with designers, organizers, healers, and space holders who understand our homes are mirrors. And when we shift our spaces, we shift our lives, whether you're remodeling your kitchen, or you're organizing your home, rearranging a closet, you're in the right place to believe that it's deeper than it actually looks. Welcome to the Sacred Designer Podcast. Thank you for being here, Heather. So today we're exploring something that is often sits quietly behind beautiful spaces, but shapes everything we create and trust. I'm joined by Heather McManus, award-winner designer, author, speaker, and founder of the Designers Collaborative, whose work supports designers through thoughtful, to-the-trade furniture sourcing and community-driven guidance. What I deeply respect about Heather's work is the steadiness she brings to the design industry. She helps designers slow down, source with confidence, and build relationships rooted in integrity rather than urgency or pressure. As a kitchen and bath designer and a past collaborative member, I see how much the behind-the-scene choices affect the nervous system for both the designers and the client. Heather's work reminds us that when designers feel supported, resourced, and trusted, the spaces that they create naturally feel calmer and more grounded too. So Heather, I'm so grateful that you're here today, and welcome to the Sacred Designer.
Thank you so much for having me, and what a wonderful intro.
Thank you. I'm so glad you liked it. But it's all honest, and truthful. So, but, and then speaking of that, trust is a big part of your work, in my opinion. How would you define trust in the design process?
Oh, trust is huge on every level. In the design process, it kind of, once the client trusts you, the project goes so much smoother. And it's no longer like, grading. It's just there's flow and that's the sweet spot. And trust with, your trade vendors as well. It's kind of across all the boards of trust is extremely important.
Absolutely. Like, when did you first notice that, that trust or a lack thereof really shaped the experience of the designers behind the scenes?
Well, I guess it was pretty early on when I had worked for, a window treatment workroom. So I learned how things were made. Then I went to work at different furniture stores. So I learned like the sales part and some of the brands. So it was really when I went out on my own that I had to learn the sourcing, kind of from scratch. We all start with like the basic go to a retail store, and that's not really sourcing, that's shopping. So when I tried to switch over to sourcing, I found, oof, boy, was it difficult. I mean, getting access for one, then getting good pricing, kind of impossible. So, yeah, the whole thing that like made me create a whole second business was lack of trust.
Yeah,
I had gone to I won't say their names.
that's
We'll,
fine.
we'll protect them a little
That's
bit.
fair. Yeah.
I'm not sure they deserve it, but I don't want to throw them under the bus for any reason. But there was a chandelier that I wanted for a client. We picked out every possible thing because it was all very customizable. So I went to the New York Design Center and said to them, this is what we're looking for. What's my price? And they gave me my price. And I had a whole conversation with the person about how this is for sure my price because it was very expensive. And I said, I'm new to this. I'm thinking that the client's going to have a hard time with it. So maybe I'm just going to use like a 20% markup. How do you feel about that? Do you think that that's a safe way to go? Because, 30 is generally what you do, and sometimes you can do more. But I didn't want to risk losing that sale. I wanted her to have this. So when I presented it, and I made sure that the people I was talking to at the design center said, yeah, that'd be great. You should do it. This is your price. This is what you'll get. This is how the whole situation's going to go down. So when I present this chandelier and the cost to the client, she's very quiet. That's kind of normal, right?
Yeah.
But then, I didn't hear from her for a while. So the next time I'm dropping off pillows, she says to me, Heather, how come I can find this for so much less than you were able to sell it for, and it has free shipping as well. And she's showing it to me on her phone. She didn't have to go on a computer. She's on her phone and she's found it for less than my designer price that I reaffirmed with the design center, making sure that I wasn't, gonna be too expensive.
Yeah.
So she was very annoyed that I didn't have a good response. I was sort of like shocked by this.
Yeah.
And I thought there must be something wrong, honestly. Like there's got to be something that I'm missing. Let me go see what happened. So when I called them back, they really didn't have any answer for me.
Yeah.
And it was that point where I said, okay, I can't trust a design center to give me fair pricing. So I need to figure out a whole better way.
Yeah.
And that was kind of, how it all kicked off. It wasn't
Absolutely.
just the loss of that one chandelier. I lost that client. There was no more professional photography. There was no finishing up of the job. There were certainly no referrals. So it really stung me to the point where I had to create an entire second business to support the first one.
Yeah, and that makes a lot because that was kind of my next question is, why is sourcing such a vulnerable part? And I think you answered it right there. And
Yeah.
for sure. And definitely been through that experience before. And it's just you lose the client and you know how it goes. Like, this business is built on referrals. And if that one you lose quite a few when you lose that one. So
Yeah, absolutely. This
y-
woman has 5 kids and 2 businesses in my town. It should have set me up with amazing
yeah.
referrals, and it did not.
So, what does thoughtful to the trade sourcing really mean beyond, finding the beautiful pieces? I mean, there's just, what does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, I feel like it goes with everybody in the process because the client needs the peace of mind that they're not going to pay more than what, they see on the internet or that they would find in a store.
Hmm.
And the designer needs to know that they're going to make enough money selling this to be worth the trouble for them because it is quite a hassle to procure all these things, to find them, to send the purchase order, to track it, all that work, installing it in the home, you know, dealing with any possible damages that could happen. Like a lot goes into this process.
Yeah,
So
warranties, quality, all
oh,
those
all of
things
it. Yeah.
too.
It's
Yeah.
it's huge. And it's honestly like such a big part of finishing the project.
Yeah.
If you don't have all of the things in place, did you really finish that job? So, yeah, I think that what we're able to do gives clients peace of mind because they're not going to pay more than what they're seeing. And it gives the designer, a substantial amount of profitability. So you're not feeling resentful, taken advantage of, or like constantly battling the internet, which
Hmm.
is a struggle. So I think that that's what it means to me.
Absolutely. I love that. Because then, there's the relationships with the makers and the vendors and those collaborators as well that affects, the final outcome of the space, wouldn't you say? I mean, or I would say all different vendors have different things to offer when it comes to that, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's tons of vendors to choose from, and they all have different price tiers. They all have different attitudes towards his designers versus like a retail
Mm-hmm.
store. So, yeah.
Because what happens when the designer feels rushed or unsupported or like unsure if, with their sourcing decisions? Like what happens to that person as well as the client, really?
Oh, it's true. It's one of my pet peeves is when a designer says, "Oh, they have a wedding in July, so we need to like forget the sofa that would have come in 10 weeks to go for the one that's going to come in 6 because, you know, it's a deadline driven decision."
Yeah,
And that means, you're sacrificing. You're sacrificing for the long haul, and you're hopefully going to have your furniture for much longer than, you know, the time period of that particular event. It bugs me when the decision gets made by a deadline. I really prefer to design on what the client is going to live with for the long haul. That gets into sustainability too. You don't
absolutely.
want to have to make a rushed decision and feel
Hmm.
stressed out about it and feel like you're sacrificing, because then you're going to turn around and say, you know what, let's do it over again because I didn't really love that choice so much.
Absolutely. And I find that when it is rushed on both ends, you are sacrificing quality and you're sacrificing like a nice, calm, relaxed decision. And just mistakes happen and things that, like you were saying, like even sustainably wise terms of how much you love it, but also how well it's made too, for sure.
Yeah,
So that makes a
absolutely.
lot of sense. From your perspective, how does the confidence behind the scenes translate into calmer homes for clients? Or have you seen that before? Or, is that something that kind of stands out to you at all?
I don't know that I've experienced that because I tend to bring calm energy to a client because, if you are stressed out, they are stressed out because they're
Yeah.
going to take their cues from you. It's like having a kid. If they fall and they're not really hurt and you just rub it and you kiss it and you say, "You're fine, let's go," they're off and they're fine. Like they're not going to make a big deal about it. But if you go, "Oh," and have that kind of a reaction, they're going to start crying. They're going to like freak out because maybe I am hurt. So you have to give the cues to the client. You're the one in charge of this. So if you're calm, they'll be calm. If you are, a bit of stress, that's gonna even on a subconscious level, they're gonna feel it. And it's
Absolutely.
gonna come across and it's gonna play into their mind.
So what would you say like a supported design process feels like, especially like how does it feel in your body when it's supported? Like how does the client react? How does the designer react? How do the vendors
Yeah, I mean,
react?
you're sleeping through the night. You're not getting text
Yeah.
messages at all hours. There's all kinds of like, the shoulders are back, the jaw's not clenched, all of that kind of stuff within your body. And then, the client can kind of take a breath too.
Yeah. No, absolutely. What I've noticed is that you kind of act as a guide, rather than an authority, which is amazing. Why does that distinction matter to you? And would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. Um, it's probably based on how I view the world because I'm a Taurus, I'm a dragon,
Yeah.
Italian and Irish. There's a lot of stubbornness here. There is not a lot of chill. So if you tell me like it has to be done a certain way, I might just think, does it? And question that for no apparent reason. So I like and also my background, I majored in art education. That was my
Oh,
my
that's
college
lovely.
experience.
Okay.
So you wait for the student to see the light bulb, and then it's like this light in their eyes, and they got it for life, versus telling them and having them kind of get it but not really like retain it.
Yeah.
So I really find that if you're guiding someone, you're not being a dictator about it. You're being, this is my experience, have at it for what you will, but generally speaking, it's valued. And it's nice when it's valued because then they might do a little exploring in the other ranges, but it's going to mean more.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can designers lead with integrity while they're still, running sustainability and profitable businesses? With my experience as well, like being with you, I would say that um, that's where the guidance comes in again, because I do feel like a lot of the people that you have in your group are already kind of been vetted, or at least, there's like a process to, the stepping stones of how you use each vendor you use, that type of thing. Would you say that that's so my question was how can you lead with integrity with still running the sustainability and profitable business?
Yeah.
Would you say that you've already kind of put that in place?
I
Or
would hope so. And, honestly, I don't have the answers to
yeah,
everything.
that's true.
So,
Yeah.
one of the brilliant things about the Designers Collaborative is the fact that we have over 500 members, and every single one of us has some little realm of genius that the other one doesn't. And so, when one person asks a question, like in our Facebook group, I don't have to be the one to answer it. We can sit back and see what other people think about that particular wallpaper seam that, the installer did. And the wealth of knowledge of a whole group, it's a whole
Yeah.
brain trust of like amazing, knowledge, and it's a fantastic resource to kind of like sit back and also bring some peace of mind to your design business because there's people with more answers, more experience with that particular thing.
Yeah, because I mean that's an amazing segue into, what's the role that mentorship and community play into long-term success for designers. And quite honestly, I think it comes down to community and being able to kind of work together and collaboratively, have the answers for each other. So that's incredible that you have that group so that you can all help each other a little bit. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. You come for the profits, you stay for the community.
Yes, ma'am. That's for sure. So how has your own relationship with work, pace, and success evolved over time?
Oh, a ton. I mean, so I started a second business to support the first, and then it kind of took over. My last job was close to 2 years ago, and I've stopped doing interior design because this really just needed my focus, and I'm enjoying it too. Instead of seeing a room evolve the way, you have it in your head and you're watching the process happen and the reveal and all of that, I'm kind of getting that with designers that join at a certain level and then they skyrocket because suddenly, they came in as a solo entrepreneur and then all of a sudden they need a virtual assistant and then they need two. And then I'm going to open a studio or a retail space. It's really cool to watch the evolution of, the community happen. So in a way, I feel like, I have a little ownership or pride in that. And
That's beautiful, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, you're kind of, giving light to other people and, and just giving them a stepping stone. That's beautiful. I really like that a lot. So I feel like that kind of swings back to sustainability in terms of like materials, but like that sounds like sustainability in terms of like people and relationships. And not only that, but business.
Mm.
I feel like that makes a really big deal. That's incredible. So I really love that. And it's amazing that you can kind of step into that business now and really support people in a sustainable way. So that's awesome. So what would you love designers to trust in themselves more deeply? Like what would you say that there's one thing, or I mean, it could be several things. I don't know. What do you think it is that people need to trust in themselves more?
Oh, I think you said it already. You just need to trust in yourself because it happens on everything. It's like, I think we all suffer from it. Like we're sensitive, creative beings, us little designers, and we're possibly never satisfied.
Yeah.
Like, is there a better whatever out there? If you source for 10 more hours, do you find seven more, table lamps that could work? Of course.
Yeah.
Part of it is like trusting the one that you found that is going to work. It's going to be the size, it's going to be everything. It's the right price. Just trust yourself. And we make thousands of decisions in every project and in our businesses. So just kind of, yeah, trusting yourself more in general.
In general, yeah. I think also too, when you have, the stewardship and the mentorship and the things behind you too, I feel like that also should really give you, the strength to step in your own and trust yourself more and believe that, especially when there's a group behind you and, it's been vetted and all of the things that should allow you to as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think, you have to let go of perfect. That is not a thing.
yeah, I struggle with perfectionism. I always kind of
Yeah.
talk about this. That always kind of comes up. And, and quite honestly, sometimes it's the way you're raised. I think also with designers, it's just something where it kind of comes with the territory. I find that a lot of designers do struggle with that. And, sometimes you just have to say, that's good enough, right?
Yeah, yeah, because perfectionism can totally turn into self-sabotage. So
Yeah,
you don't want to go there.
that's very true. So that's lovely. Thank you so much for all those answers. I do have a quick fire round. Are you down
Okay.
for that? Have you done this before? A fire round?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you know how it works. All right, cool. All right. So one word that feels like trust to you right now.
Oh Lord.
Okay, fine. Maybe a couple words if you need to.
Wholeness? I don't know. I That's a
Okay.
hard one.
Okay. That makes sense. A sourcing decision that brought deep relief.
These are good and hard to answer. Okay. I hope it's okay if it's a little bit longer. When a vendor fully trusts the designers collaborative, oh, that is such a wonderful thing. And
Yeah.
they're happy to be part of it, then that's
Yeah.
a decision that I can make with peace. I know I'm supporting a company that supports me back.
Yes. Totally. Okay. Yeah, the reciprocation. Absolutely. Okay. I love that one. So, a behind the scenes choice that changed everything.
Yeah, that one client with that chandelier, boy, did that change everything.
Yeah. You know what? I feel like although it was painful at the moment, I think that was the thing that fueled you to be where you are today.
It's
So,
true.
yeah. So there's always a light in something. A habit that supports calm work days.
Oh, a long morning, as long as you
Okay.
can make it.
I do like a good morning too. A calm one, that is. A myth about sourcing you'd love to release.
I wish more designers understood price tiers. It's a hidden thing the industry doesn't talk about. And so
Hmm.
you have to ask all these questions. You have to be so proactive.
Yeah,
So I wish that that was just more common knowledge because then you could understand, you know, what your pricing is compared to something else and how better you could be buying.
yeah, absolutely. Or really, passing on those savings to like your clients. So a moment when you knew a piece was right.
I trust my gut on so many things.
Okay. Good
I don't
intuition, yeah.
necessarily go for like tangible proof. I do some research, but it's more of a gut check.
Yeah, that's fair. And I feel like designers have become such amazing visualizers too. At one point, it's like the client needs to trust the designer because, they have the vision, right? So a value you return too often.
Probably the trust.
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like that's
that's the
at the
theme.
core. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A feeling you hope designers experience when they work with you.
Oh, I hope it's just joy, elation. And that is what the feedback I usually get. It's like, oh
Oh,
my
good.
God, all of these vendors, I can't believe this pricing. I'm so grateful, you know.
Yeah. Okay, that's lovely. A sign a process is truly aligned.
I feel like when it works for you, because there's a lot of things that we try,
Hmm.
maybe somebody suggested it, it could be a coach, it could be a book. And if it's a struggle, it doesn't click in place. But when it's
Hmm.
like, this works for me, that's what you should stick with.
Yeah. And one intention you bring into every collaboration.
Honesty.
Okay. I love that. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for bringing some clarity and steadiness and care into the conversation. I love the reminder that, beautiful homes don't have to be pressured, but they do come from trust. And I think that's kind of been the whole encompassing kind of theme here. Thoughtful choices and well-supported designers is also incredible. And for everyone listening, I hope this episode invites you to look beyond the finished spaces and honor the quiet system in relationships that make calm, beautiful living spaces. And Heather, if anybody wanted to listen to you or get in contact with you, where would that be?
Our website's probably the best place because that's where everything is. So that's thedesignerscollaborative.com. We
Okay.
have a page for events. There's all kinds of webinars that you can sign up for.
Okay, beautiful. Well, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sacred listeners, it's Alyssa Martin. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. But guess what? We're going to be at school. That's right, SKOOL. There we're going to have a free community where there's all the tools and checklists and things of that nature to help you get your remodel done in alignment. But guess what? We're also going to have the design lounge where you get one-on-one access to me. So go to school, check out the link in the show notes, and check it out. I'll see you guys next time on this Here's the Sacred Designer. Thank you.